Konate87 here to bring you a super duper anime review of the super popular, super watched show, probably the most watched and popular show of 2012, and that is Sword Art Online. For me, Sword Art Online was quite a roller coaster of enjoyment. At parts, it was tip-top high, and at parts, my enjoyment plummeted and was in the pits of quite honestly just like despair and hate for the show. Even before the first episode was aired, as soon as it was announced, this show was hyped. It was the hype of the season, the hype of the year. Everyone was excited for Sword Art Online. With all this hype, it was like, yeah, I guess I'm watching this. Upon entering the first episode of the show, I have to admit I was quite skeptical, because the hype had just pumped this show up to top tier stuff. So I was like, yeah, okay, it's probably not going to be that great. I was wrong. The first episode of Sword Art was amazing. The art was amazing. The story, man. The story where you die if you die in this game and they're all trapped and you can't get up till you beat it. It's like, holy, this is amazing. The characters were so cool. Klein was there. Bad guy was cool. The main character was cool. Everything was cool. It lived. First episode super lived up to the hype of Sword Art Online. However, after the first episode, through the second episode to around the 8th, it felt like the pacing was kinda odd. The story seemed to jump floors, it was telling side stories or maybe spin-offs that didn't really seem to affect the plot. The stuff with Liz, the stuff with the Dragon Girl, the stuff with the first guilds felt spin-off, although that one was further expanded later on, but it felt really jumpy and the pacing was quite odd. I still enjoyed the show, but at that point I felt it was kind of failing towards the hype. But then we met Asuna, and I adore Asuna. I have my pre-order for Nendroids. I have my Madoka here, but pre-order for Asuna Nendroid, and I can't wait to get that because it's Asuna and I adored Asuna. For me, my adore of this show is those episodes from when Kirito proposes and then they just live at the lake and they go fishing and they just enjoy themselves in the lakeside cabin. That was my adore of the season. It was adorable, and it was just the best part of this show. Yeah, but I know a lot of people would probably disagree with me. They're like, what? That part sucked. There was no fighting, there was no bad guys, there was no conflict, and yeah, no, there wasn't. But I know if I got into that game, I would be nowhere near the front lines. I would be fishing all day. My fishing skill would be top tier, because I swear that's all I would do. Just be like, yeah, you guys can go fight on the front lines. I'm gonna chill back here and enjoy myself because it seemed cool. The world was so cool. And the last RPG I played, it was Dark Cloud 2, and for most of the game you can fish, and so I did all the fishing quests and I got my fishing skills up, and it was just like, yeah, screw fighting, I'm fishing. But calm my fanboyness down on that part of the anime because it progressed, and from that point to episode 14 were amazing. Episode 14 was the ending of Aincrad, the conclusion to the first season of Sword Art, so I thought that was spectacular. Thought the hospital scene was extremely well done, and if I would go back, I would rate the first half of Sword Art Online a solid 9 out of 10. And then Alfheim started. Boop, boop, boop. And then from episode 16 to the last 2 episodes, I hated this series. The new antagonist, Sugo, is horrible, a horrible, horrible character. I hate him. His ambitions were stupid, his morals were disgusting. The first antagonist was amazing. I loved him. he set up the conflict, but you still could feel for, and like, oh, the first bad guy was so cool. He was such a cool antagonist. And then Sugo, which my friends all call Dr. Rape, because he is a horrible, horrible character. I just hated his guts. No good anime make you feel these emotions. These emotions is what anime is supposed to invoke with you, but I just really thought this part of the anime was terrible. For me, it started going away from the action and stuff. It started throwing fan service, trying to appeal to different things. It introduced the whole incest thing with his cousin, who's not really the cousin. I hated that. I never liked that in anime. Well, sometimes it's done alright, but here it was just like, it felt fan service, and it was trying to appeal to the masses, which it did better before. Before, it was awesome. It was amazing, but Alfheim, I just hated everything. I felt like it was totally unfair. I felt like the animation was focused on showing off Suguo and showing off Leafa, and it just felt pointless. A lot of the and even the conflict just didn't feel as real, because you die, you respawn. In Aincrad, you die. In this one, it's like, oh, I'm not gonna let you die this time, Leaf, oh god, delusion, big bad guy. It just felt like, okay, so you can die and then you'll respawn. It's just like a tiny penalty. It's like, it just felt so much more fake. It just didn't feel like real conflict anymore at all. So with all the Alfheim crud going into the last 2 episodes, I was disappointed. I was done with this series. I was like, ugh, just let it be over with. I'll give it whatever, I'll give it like a 6. Whatever. But the last 2 episodes were quite redeeming. I liked the last 2 episodes, except parts were still horrible. I felt like, finally, it's exciting. The conflict is being dealt with, and it was resolved, and they beat the shit out of Sugo. Totally destroyed him, and then in the real life, he destroyed him again. It was like, that guy deserved to be punished and destroyed, and I hated him. And then I loved the real life scenes. The ending, I felt everything was so sweet and perfect, and it just made me so happy. With the real life, it had Asuna back and Kirito back, and they're in the new school. It was so cool. And then the ones from the spin-offs, like Liz and the Dragon Tamer girl, they were in the school too. So it's like, oh, I like this. I like the school setting. I hated Alfheim 2 bits, but okay, it's over. It's over. It's cool. So in all, this show was like, pew, Alfheim, oh no! Like, out of camera, low. It's like if I could go into my basement, that's how low this show would be. But then the last 2 episodes were like, okay, it's good, I'm relieved, it's over. So in all, with that, and with, yes, I'm gonna give this show an average 7 out of 10. I felt that parts were amazing, parts were like 9 10s out of 10, just like amazing, awesome. But with the whole, like, it was a lot of episodes, it was in the hole, so I'll average it out to a 7. And apparently the next game, Gun-Gale, and I enjoyed the school setting, so if that's an arc in itself, and like Gun-Gale, because this show is going to get a 2nd season, like the sales were way too high, it's way too popular, it's pretty much going to get a 2nd season, so I'll watch the 2nd season. I can see myself enjoying it. Well, what's your guys' opinion? Leave me a comment down below. If you want to see more anime reviews, more weekly reviews from me, you can subscribe. Plan to do anime reviews every Monday, and I will be reviewing weekly anime every Friday, because I like being a scheduled person, and I will do my best to try and keep to my schedule. Thanks for watching. I'm Konat87. Have a nice day.